You're listening to another episode of the Just Go Bike podcast, powered by RAGBRAI. This is the award-winning podcast where we are all about the culture of cycling, just for the fun of it. Your hosts are Murph from the Murphology podcast and AP from Parrot Talk. With tales from all over the nation, come for the bikes, stay for the fun, and leave with a smile. And now here is Murph.
Hey, that's me.
And AP.
Hey, that's me.
Hello, AP.
Hi, Murph.
Here we are in Parrot Talk Studios, live, in person, together, and recording video.
Hey.
Hello.
And we're matching
We are.
in our pink zip-up RAGBRAI hoodies.
Yep.
Highly recommend for any day that you might need a nice layer.
It's very cozy.
Yeah.
Yes. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Yeah.
I've been out there. I've been riding, just enjoying the nice weather that Iowa has to offer this time of year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I do a Wednesday night bike club. Cleverly, guess what day it happens?
Thursday.
On Wednesday. And I would say for the past like maybe 6 weeks, it's rained on Wednesday.
Oh.
So this is a spoiler if anybody is listening and they ride Wednesday Night Bike Club. But this week we're going to ride on Thursday because it's going to be beautiful.
Oh, good. Good. Oh, I was right.
So you were right. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
So, Murph, speaking of bikes and riding bikes, as we often do,
Okay.
what is the longest bike ride that you've ever been on?
Well, can you count riding across America, the United States,
I mean, yes, but I mean in one day.
in one day?
Yeah.
Well, I've done quite a few century rides, which is 100 miles. The one that comes to mind is the Grand Gable, which takes place in like the Iowa City area here in Iowa, because it was the most difficult.
Yeah.
I would say I'd like to say 75 mile an hour winds, but that's totally not true. But I would say maybe 30 to 40 mile an hour headwinds. It was probably over 100 degrees.
Ugh.
It was really, really hot. And I think I ended that day at 106.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I wasn't there, but I remember talking to you after you completed that ride, and woof,
Yeah.
that was a rough one. But you did it, and
Yeah.
you persevered, and you got that achievement
That's
locked.
right. Yeah.
I think for me, it's probably a similar distance.
Mm-hmm.
I've done the Karis Loop on RAGBRAI many times. And then I've done centuries on my own a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
Probably with that, if riders have done the century on RAGBRAI before, they probably know that you get the 100 done, you get to town, and then you still have to make it to camp.
Sure.
So I could have made it to like 110, 115 easily in that range in a day. But that's about my maximum that I've ever ridden before. So
Well, we have, I'm thinking of a couple of our mutual friends. I won't say their names, but I can't recall what happened, but they did the century ride one year on RAGBRAI and they were at 98 miles. So it probably depended on where they started their day at the camp or wherever.
yeah.
And I remember we were in, I kind of feel like it was Centerville, but it was had a what do you call that? Like the square.
Town Square.
Town
yeah.
Square.
Yeah.
And they were doing laps to try and get to their last 2 miles. And I'm like, you guys really?
Well, you can't
I
go
know.
all the way,
I know.
and yeah.
I know. And this is a good segue to today's episode. This is a really big deal for me, but one of my favorite ultra cycling endurance athletes is on the Just Go Bike podcast today.
Yee! It is so exciting. That's right. It's Lael Wilcox.
Lael Wilcox. Oh my gosh.
Yes, she has quite the list of accomplishments.
Yeah. I wrote just a few of them down. So Lael Wilcox won the Trans Am bike race back in 2016. Listen to this. She biked across the entire United States in 18 days.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. For example, when I biked across the United States, it was about 3,000 miles and it took us, I believe, 64 days.
Yeah.
I mean, we were not racing.
Yeah.
But-
and you went a fairly direct route, though. I mean, it wasn't
Yeah.
too squirrely, but
Yeah.
what does that average out to?
Okay, so the route she did, which I think is called the Trans-America route, I did the Southern Tier, is 4,400 miles. And if you look at that, I know you're a mathlete, a little bit of a mathlete. If you look at that in 18 days, she's averaging over 230 miles per day.
Wow.
And I believe she was sleeping 5 hours a day.
Wow.
So
that is impressive. Did she do this interview with you from the bike?
no, but she had just gotten done with a pretty crazy, which I'll get to in a second. But yeah.
She's done all sorts of other really epic stuff like Tour Divide, Baja Divide, and a bike packing race in Switzerland, which sounds incredible.
Yeah. So on this episode, Lael is on to tell us about her latest quest. Are you ready for this? To pedal around the world and not only break the women's record, but break the men's record as well.
Wow. Get it, Lael. Doesn't she hold the women's record now?
She does, yes. Yeah. So she rode her bike around the world in 2024. Can you guess how long that took?
I don't have to. It's right here in my notes. She said it took her 108 days to bike over 18,000 miles.
18,000 miles is really hard to wrap my head around. And get this, to break the record, she's going to bike over 18,000 miles again, but in just 78 days.
Wow.
78 days.
That's like 30 days less than she did the first time. That's incredible.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to hear more about this. When is she doing it?
She takes off in just a couple of months at the time of this recording. And on this episode, Lael's going to tell us more about it along with her recent practice run. She did the Southern Tier route and ended up in Austin. And it's equally as epic as this world record attempt. So,
yeah.
And she talks about how many miles she has to do per day, which, spoiler, is over 200.
Wow.
Again.
Wow.
So, and then lots more about it.
Yeah. Do you know if she's ever done RAGBRAI?
We did talk about that. She has not, and she's talked about it and kind of compared the similarities between her epic adventures and how we as RAGBRAI riders are. So I thought that was a really good connection. She will be in the middle of her world record attempt during RAGBRAI 53, so she can't make it. But I definitely got a feeling, you'll have to, when you listen, I got a feeling that we will see her on a future RAGBRAI. So that's pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I mean, I think RAGBRAI would be a piece of cake for her. I think that was pretty generous of her to say that, to compare what she's doing with RAGBRAI, because it's like a third of her mileage for only 7 days. Wow, she's so impressive. I think we should note that Lael works with Quadlock, who is a sponsor for RAGBRAI.
Wait, look at this. I have my Quadlock on my phone right now. For those of you watching the video, it's like a little clippy thing. And AP, do you have the exact same one?
I sure do, but we're using my phone to record this intro, so I cannot show it off. But it looks identical to Murph's, and it snaps right onto the handlebar of your bike. Mm-hmm. It stays right in there. And this case, it's a MagSafe, so it would work with your charger if you have a MagSafe charger. Mm-hmm. So it's a really cool deal. I never thought that I really want a phone on my handlebars, but I freaking love Quadlock ever since I started using it.
Yeah.
And I would say that whether they were a sponsor or not.
Yeah. And I don't know if I over talked you when I was so excited to show it, but they are connected with RAGBRAI this year.
That's right. Yeah. They're one of our sponsors this year. So we're pretty jacked about that. And we'll be doing all sorts of content. You'll see us using our Quadlock phones throughout. I assume that Lael uses a Quadlock on her adventures as well.
She sure does. I talked with somebody from Quadlock, and he was like, I think Lael, is somebody who uses the Quadlock more than anyone. And if you think about it, a lot of her adventures are bike packing in the dirt, she's doing epic stuff. So yeah, Lael uses her Quadlocks for maps, for messages. If she's listening to other people, everything's right at her fingertips.
Yeah. So we're essentially just like her.
We are basically also doing epic stuff.
Well, yeah, sure. Yeah. But yeah, it's a way to firmly attach your phone to your handlebars, and it's super cool. Just like Lael.
Just like Lael, yes.
Yeah. So,
okay, well, let's get to the interview with Lael Wilcox. I cannot wait to share this with everyone. All right, a very, very high five, warm welcome, big hug to Lael Wilcox. Hey, Lael.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You bet. The amount of time we've been on the phone before pushing record, your energy level is exactly what I expected it to be.
Yeah, that's so kind.
Yeah.
Well, it's lovely to talk with you, and we're not even seeing each other's faces, but laughing, I can hear that, and
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah. So you are on a podcast called Just Go Bike, and we're located in Iowa, and Iowa is home to RAGBRAI. And I know that you won't be coming to RAGBRAI this year because you're going to be doing something pretty darn epic. But I thought I should at least give you the 30-second overview of what RAGBRAI is, because to a lot of us that do RAGBRAI, it's as big of a feat as what you're getting ready to do for, the second time, I believe.
Oh, totally. I've always wanted to go to RAGBRAI. And actually, this is so great. So Tim from Quadlock asked, hey, we're sponsoring RAGBRAI. Do you want to go? And I thought, oh, God, I wish. But I can't because I'm riding around the world. And it happens to be at the same time. So I really, really hope I can make it in a future year.
Yes, we do too. And, it's a 7-day bike ride across the state. We go from one river to the other river, so coast to coast, even though we don't have oceans. And, this year it'll probably be upwards towards 20,000 people that do the same thing. We all ride our bikes 7 days in a row with other cyclists, enjoy ourselves, eat lots, and sleep a little.
Oh, it's so cool. I mean, it's like a moving community.
Yeah, it really is.
And I've heard that too. It's like people kind of set up a village every day.
Yes.
It sounds so fun.
Actually, multiple times a day, because each little town we go through, they are celebrating like it's the 4th of July. I mean, they've got music and bands and, everything. So it's pretty cool. And I do think that based on what I've seen on your social media pages, you get quite a bit of fanfare when you do your epic challenges as well.
Oh gosh, that's the best part of the whole thing. So
yeah.
In 2024, I went after the women's Guinness World Record for riding around the world. And I think about a month before I set off, I realized, what if I just invited anybody to come ride with me?
Wow.
So I put it out there. I said, anybody can come for any stretch, as long or as little as you like, on any bike. And, I thought, let's just see what happens. And while I was out there, I had this tracker that showed my location every 5 to 15 minutes. And I had the route put up in a tracking page so people could just come find me. And I think in the end, I had something like 3,000 people join me.
Wow.
And I never know when they'd come. So sometimes I'd see a biker in the distance coming towards me. And I think, is that someone coming to me, or are they just out for a ride?
Yeah.
And then I would know. I know they came to ride with me because they'd, about 100 feet out, turn around and start going my direction.
Yeah.
And then they just swoop in next to me. And it was like all of a sudden, I had a new friend.
Right.
And usually they were local, and they'd tell me about their community, and they'd say, you're passing by my grandmother's house. And it just made the whole ride so special. It was like, gave it all this local color, and I'd hear all these great stories. And for me, I was like, I'm just out here, 12 hours a day riding in the same direction. It's not that interesting. I mean, it's cool for what I see and think about, but, having that company and bringing those places to life like they did just made it so much fun.
Yeah.
So I'll do the same thing. I'm going after the men's record this time. So I have to ride 16 hours a day. And in the end, that means I have to shave off 30 days from the overall trip.
Days?
Days. And this stuff is wild. So last time I rode in 108 days, and that meant I rode 170 miles a day. This time I need to finish in 78 days. So that means I have to ride 240 miles a day. And in the end, I'm going for 240, but I have to hit 231.
Wow.
So it's all kind of this huge math equation. Like, is this possible? Where does the route go? How do you connect to the different continents? And last time I was kind of just doing it, just me and my wife were out there. She's taking photos. I'm riding the bike. I'm stopping at little shops to buy food, finding a place to sleep at night. And this time I'm going with the full support crew. So we can kind of eke out that extra distance, and I can just focus on the bike ride.
And then are you doing the exact same route as the
No,
man
it'll
that,
be,
but as the man holds?
unfortunately I can't because
Oh.
he rode across Russia.
Oh,
So
okay.
so that I have to change, just because I don't think it's a good idea right now. So
Right.
instead, I'll be riding for the European stretch. It'll be Lisbon to Istanbul in Turkey, and then I'll fly to Western Kazakhstan, ride 2,500 miles to Almaty, kind of in the east, and then fly to Bangkok and ride to Singapore.
And does the timer keep going even when you're on an
Yeah.
airplane?
Totally. So
Oh my
all that time
gosh.
counts. So I have to kind of be efficient with the trips. And it has to be commercial travel. So it could be, boats, but the fastest are airplanes. And
Right.
for me, the fastest is trying to get direct flights. So not wasting time in transit.
Right. And just figuring out, can I get to this point by this day so that I don't have to be in the
Totally.
airport for 4 hours before my flight?
Totally. Or even
Wow.
24, So it's like this crazy kind of Tetris,
Yes. Wow.
but it's also a lot of fun.
Well, obviously it has to be. If you are comfortable saying, I'm going to ride my bike 16 hours a day.
Yeah,
How-
I know. And then with the goal of riding an average of 15 miles an hour. So that was my overall average last time.
Okay.
And last time I had more of an adventurous route. I rode through the Alps. I chose to ride through the mountains and through the big cities, but all of that takes more time.
Sure.
So I have to kind of make the route a bit more efficient, a bit less climbing, but there's still plenty of climbing, which is great because that's what I like. And then I can't ride through the heart of the cities because it's just too much stop and go.
Sure. Well, and you might get, you won't because your brain is focused on a goal, but like to get sidetracked, like, ooh, I want to go check out that coffee shop or,
Oh, totally.
eat that food.
This is the whole reason I'm going after it again is because my wife made this beautiful film about my ride last time and I watched it. I did a screening tour last spring. I went to 12 different locations showing the movie and meeting people. So I watched it 12 times and I was like, I stopped all the time. Every time there was somebody standing on the side of the road, cheering, I would stop, and I'd talk with them for 10 minutes and which was so much fun. But I was like,
that adds up though, right?
We started doing the math and my wife Rue was like 10 minutes for 78 days is 13 hours.
Wow.
That's half a day where I was like, oh, wow. So if I just stayed on the bike for that 10 minutes, in the end, I would gain like a 13-hour advantage.
Wow.
Which is just kind of crazy just because the trip is so long that these little different daily differences make a huge difference in the end.
Right. And I saw, it was just maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago, you did part of the Southern Tier in the United States. And was that considered like a practice run or a...
Totally.
Totally.
So we did that with a group. It was Rue, her mom, and then 3 other friends. And the whole point of that was to have a test for the crew. And this was the crew we were anticipating working with in North America. So Chicago to Halifax and then Anchorage back to Chicago at the end. Because I'll most likely have different crew in different continents. Because it just makes more sense. People don't have to fly around the world with me. They can just help me when I land. But then we learned that we had hired friends and we really need to work with professionals. Just because the ask is pretty massive. I'm riding 16-hour days. That means we have an 18 to 20-hour work day every day.
Wow.
And that is crazy. People just need to know that's the job and be ready for it. And I've learned because my wife was pretty much constantly driving and feeding me. And so she never got to edit any of the photos or videos that she shot during the day. So she was disappointed because she couldn't do live coverage like she wanted to. And so we realized, well, she can't really be, the driver and the person on nutrition and
Mm-hmm.
making all the logistical decisions. We actually need other people to step into those roles.
And doing the
So
video and photos, right? Because isn't that
exactly, and
her profession?
that's her profession, and that's
Yeah.
what she's best at, and that's also what she loves the most.
Right.
So it's
Right.
like for her to be making rice instead of editing a video, I just thought, well, this is this
It's good
isn't
for
gonna
you.
work. Yeah, it's great for me, but she can't do, because in the end, I really believe that her work is just as important or more important than mine.
Yeah,
It's like I'm just
she
plugging
tells the
along.
story, right?
She's actually sharing what we're doing and
Right.
showing people these beautiful places and sharing these stories. And so it's like, we got to get her out from behind the wheel or out of the kitchen. She's got to be in the office.
That's
So,
right.
we learned a lot on that ride. We had 2 vehicles. We realized we should really try to just have one. It
Mhm.
saves everybody from the hassle of coordination, and only one person has to drive at a time.
Right.
And then we also just learned, like, we should really be working with event coordinators that have a lot of experience in logistics.
Mm-hmm.
Know how to get people different places, know what these days might look like.
Right.
So then we were referred to a bunch of people within kind of this race riding network, and
Oh.
also kind of high-end bike travel, because it's
Mhm.
the same kind of thing. You got to get people places, you got to get mechanics, you got to fuel the rider. So the guy helping for North America, it might be a guy that's helped as a crew chief for Race Across America.
Sure.
And I was like, oh yeah, that's a great fit.
Mhm.
Like, he knows what it's like, and I'm not. He's used to a rider trying to ride 22 hours a day, and I'm only going for 16. So this should be a walk in the park.
So here's an interesting question I have for you. So I did the Southern Tier route with Adventure Cycling Association back in 2022. And
Wow.
the part I'm thinking about is when you were getting closer to Austin, there are
Yeah.
so many cool things to see, like around
Totally.
Marfa. I think it's like 20 miles of when they're
totally.
like, you're almost to Marfa, you're almost to Marfa. And then there's all these amazing art sculptures. But like for
Yeah.
me, we stopped like every time there was a cool sculpture. I'm like, we're stopping. We're going to go, look at the Prada store, and we're going to do this.
Oh, for
Where
sure.
you are hightailing it to try and, learn about how fast you can go and how you can recover. Like, did you actually see all of those things?
I do see them, but I don't see them for long.
Sure.
I get like a quick glance over, like, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then I keep going, but the fortunate thing is that Rue is there and she takes a photo of it or a video.
Yeah.
So then I can see it later and I'm like, wow, that was really
You're like,
cool.
wow, I was there, huh?
I mean, a lot of this, usually I'm like, I look over and I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm past it.
Sure.
But I do kind of soak it up, but I don't have the luxury of stopping.
Right.
Last time around the world, sometimes I would stop because I'd stop to eat. So then, I'm riding, my route goes within half a mile of Bruges, the city in Belgium, with all the little canals. And Rue's like, you got to detour. She's like, you got to go into Bruges. You got to order some fries. You got to eat them at the canal. Because also she wants to take a video, and because I had the time, I was like, sure, that sounds great.
Right.
Whatever. Right. I'm happy to do it. But then this time around, I can't. But at least the thing is, with the route for around the world, it's flexible in that you don't have to stick to your route. You can make detours and all that mileage counts. Because basically I'm just looking to hit this magic number of 18,000 miles.
18,000 in what, 78 days?
Exactly. So in the end, the average is 231 miles per day, every day. But then I'm trying to hit 240 because I know I'll lose some time in the flights.
Right.
But, if I can get a night flight, it's great because then I can sleep on the plane.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we tried to do last time.
Right. And that's a great segue into recovery, because I'm thinking, let's just say you're going to do 16 hours a day and then you have to sleep. But how do you make your brain slow down to get ready for the next day? Are you still trying to figure that out?
Yeah, I think what I'm going to have to be really disciplined with any kind of caffeine intake.
Sure.
And then what I found last time when I did this was the first week was the only time where I ever even had an extra minute where I was trying to fall asleep. After that, I was so tired all the time.
Oh, okay.
I would fall asleep like at the snap of the fingers. Like basically if I leaned up against a wall, I'd fall asleep. So I think really it's only going to be an issue for the first week, but I do think I need to be careful, and I experimented with this last summer. I did a race across Europe, and I would only have one coffee in the morning and then no more coffee for the rest of the day. And then because I wanted to sleep more, because I thought, okay, here's the goal is to sleep 6 hours and then try to ride faster. Because I thought it's more fun. Plus I feel better. I can enjoy it more. So it's the same kind of mentality as, sleep a bit longer, because what I've learned doing this is for every hour I cut sleep, something else kind of goes by the wayside, and last time I rode around the world, I slept 7 hours a night, which was awesome.
Sure.
I felt great every day. But, when I cut an hour off of that, my mouth feels a bit more raw. When I cut another hour off of that, I'm down to 5 hours. It's like, my feet and hands hurt more. If I sleep 4 hours, my stomach starts to hurt. Like you lose all that. You lose the ability to maintain your body heat. You get real hot or real cold. And this is kind of a funny one. You have to pee all the time.
Oh.
And then I thought, well, instead of wasting all this time, like having to stop to pee, I could just sleep an extra hour, and maybe not lose an hour stopping. So it's like this crazy compromise of recovery versus moving.
Yeah.
And then I think, well, the best way to minimize kind of give myself the best recovery is to be more efficient, to try to eat as much on the bike as I can, and to try not to stop during the day. And that gets tougher if the weather's bad.
Sure.
Because you get wet and cold and you have to change your clothes more often. So that's like the whole idea behind, doing this in the summer months is that I'll have more daylight and the weather should be better. But then I have to go to the Southern Hemisphere. So that puts me in the dead of winter.
Oh, gosh, I didn't even think about that.
Which is just awful.
Oh.
But it's just part of it, so but now this time, if I have a support vehicle, then I just bought myself a pair of basically winter cycling boots, not cold weather, but kind of 3-season. Because I'm like, oh, well, I could just wear those, and maybe stay a little warmer. So I'm just trying to make sure I have kind of proper equipment.
Right.
And at least I don't have to carry it all this time.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That now you won't have all those extra bags and
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I'll have a bag between my aero bars, but that's mostly for food.
So one of the things I want to bring up, how are you going to be? You've done so many of these long distance. How do you stay entertained or keep your brain moving?
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to connect it with the quad lock. So you have a quad lock mount on your phone, which then I think means that your phone is visible to you. So then, are you listening to podcasts or music or talking on the phone or
Totally. Well, and the podcast we're going to record. So, I have a quad lock on my bars. Actually, I have a quad lock on my handlebars at all times.
Yep.
And I love it because I can listen to music, I can make phone calls. Also, whenever I'm doing these long distance rides, I need to find a place to sleep or find food along the way.
Sure.
And it's not always exactly where I am. So I can do all these Google searches while I'm riding.
I only see you whenever I see videos of you, you're always down in the drops, in the arrow position. I'm like, when does she ever touch her phone? But I hear you.
All the time. And sometimes it's kind of bad because I'm so when I got into riding, I didn't have a phone and I would just ride with nothing, no music, nothing. The first 2 times I rode the Tour Divide from Canada to Mexico, I was just solo. And the same when I raced across the US on the Trans Am, I listened to nothing. And, I think in my late 20s.
Wow.
And I never got bored. I just was so kind of content with being out there with my own thoughts. I also thought I don't want to be distracted. I want to be focused. And and now I'm turning 40 this year, and I'm like, oh, I love listening to stuff. Are you kidding? I'm like listening to all kinds of audiobooks. During this ride to Texas, I re-listened to Beartown, this story of Swedish hockey players. I've listened to Lonesome Dove out there. I mean, I'm like, oh, if the book's 40 hours, even
Perfect.
better.
Yeah, exactly.
This will get me through a couple days.
Oh my gosh.
So it's nice, and I can call Rue, and usually I just put the audio on like a speaker, basically. And then, I mean, it's good enough to talk, but for the podcast, I'll actually, like last time I rode around the world, we recorded a podcast every day for the 108 days. And it was 5 to 10 minutes of just things that happened during the day. And we would take the time each night to record before I went to sleep. And sometimes I'd fall asleep while we were recording.
So are you going to try and do it on the bike this trip?
Totally.
Nice.
So then we're trying to work out a system and Rue even bought this giant microphone. She's like, oh, it's like basically like a boom. And it's
so she can like hold it out from the vehicle? Oh, nice.
Yeah, either from the vehicle or from like she'd be on an e-bike next to me. We thought this thing is ridiculous. And then I realized, oh, I could just put in some wire-in earbuds and just record 5 minutes by myself.
For sure.
Basically like act like I'm talking to Rue on the phone, telling her stories of what happened during the day, because every single day, all sorts of cool stuff happens. People come out, I see different things, and it's fun to share that. And I realized, oh, it's such an easy thing to do. And then also people get an idea of what we're doing.
Yeah.
And and it's quick. They're doing a drive into the store, they can listen to it. I really of course I like the audio format because I listen to stuff all the time.
Right, for sure. Right. And do you actually post every day?
Yeah. And Rue did last time.
Okay.
And I mean, so then this was, it's easy for me because all I have to do is talk, but she actually has to edit and upload it. But she did that last year. We'd record the podcast each night, and then she'd spend a couple hours in the morning editing and getting it up. And I mean, really, I did it initially because I thought, oh, I'm not going to remember what I did. Right. I'm out of it. So we'll at least have like an audio record, like a diary. And then after that, I realized, oh, my mom loved it. She got to hear every day that I was doing okay. It was like a relief. And then, I think in the end, we had something like 900,000 downloads.
Oh my goodness.
From this, which was so cool.
Wow.
I mean, of course there were like 108 episodes, but they're all quick and all digestible. And anybody that was interested, people would come out and ride with me and tell me, I listen to your podcast every day with my 85-year-old mother at lunch.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah. Or they would listen with their kids before the kids went to bed. And I just thought, oh, this is so cool. It's like all ages. People are just like, where's that biker woman?
What did she do today?
And then people would come out and tell me about their lives. Like I rode with a woman who researches penguins in Antarctica and another woman that works for NASA. And I was like, this is incredible.
Wow.
I just was like, I was just hearing all these stories. So to be able to share a few of them was cool.
Okay, another thing on the bike, and this may be a hard question, but is there a food that you still enjoy on the bike? Or have you I can't eat another piece of licorice or whatever?
Oh, I mean, the thing I probably the biggest thing I consumed last time was just Coke.
Really?
Coca-Cola. I drank tons of it because also I could find it everywhere.
Oh, right.
It's like a refrigerator in Turkey sells Coke. So I probably drank like 3 Cokes a day. But really, like as far as real food, I probably the thing I eat the most is rice. And I feel like I could eat rice forever.
Wow.
It's so simple. It's easy to digest. It tastes good. A little bit of soy sauce. I mean, maybe a fried egg if I'm lucky.
Well, I was going to say you could probably eat rice every meal. You know what I mean? Like it would be fine for breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Totally. It tastes good. I mean, I ate tons of pasta. I mean, I get pretty tired of so much sugar.
Yeah.
Because it's just, everything is sugary. Even I eat like a lot of pastries, cookies, and baked goods, but I do get kind of tired of them. Just all the sweet. So having even just simple rice or pasta, a little oil or pesto or whatever, and I was happy.
And how about gas station foods? Are you a fan?
Let's see. I mean, oh God, I feel like an expert. But you know what? They're getting better. This is actually amazing. I think in the 10 years I've been racing like this, I'm seeing better selection.
It's almost
I'm
like a grocery store
wow.
sometimes.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, like a protein drink or like some of those little cutie oranges.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Pretty good. I used to drink a ton of milk. I would drink milk, regular whole milk, and chocolate milk. And then I learned that I really shouldn't because I have really bad asthma. So they said, you got to cut back on the dairy. I used to do this thing too, where I would take like whole pints of ice cream and let them melt and then just drink it.
Oh, wow. I don't know if I could do that.
That's like 1,000 calories.
Yeah. But it's probably like cream at that point.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, wow.
It's like, but I kind of stopped doing that a bit too, because the dairy thing. But, I think the first time I raced the Tour Divide, I basically just ate Fritos. And I was like, these are great. I'd go to the gas station and get Fritos and string cheese. And I'd be like, this is basically like nachos in my bag. And then
go ahead.
After that, I was like, I can't look at another Frito.
Thinking about RAGBRAI, okay? So you already know it's a 7-day tour across the state of Iowa, almost 20,000 participants. It happens in July, which we already said you'll be doing your Lael Rides Across the World faster, which is so amazing. But do you have any advice that you could give people who are doing their very own version of an epic ride? It's 7 days, most people camp. So we're talking lack of sleep. We're probably eating not the best.
Not great.
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Well, with that, it's I think because everybody has hard moments on the bike, where you're uncomfortable or the weather's bad or for whatever reason, you're just kind of cranky, and then I think the main thing is none of that is permanent. And I found this even in long rides where there's a difference between pain and injury and discomfort. So sometimes you really got to listen and give yourself some grace. Don't hurt yourself. It's not worth it. It's just a bike ride. But if something is just uncomfortable, like you don't want to sit on your seat anymore, well, maybe get out of the saddle, move around a bit. But also it will pass. I mean, I used to do this thing where I would check in if I was really kind of, something was uncomfortable or hurting or whatever. I would think, okay, I'm going to look again in 1 hour and see how I feel. I'm not going to stop, just going to keep going, but I'm going to check in. And then an hour later, totally different story. It wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be the same discomfort. It wouldn't feel the same. My head would be in a different place.
Sure.
So I think it was like a relief to realize, we have highs and lows, but none of them are lasting. You can, and then, I don't know. I think the other thing people do is they, decide to pull a plug and then they really regret it.
Yeah.
And then I think, well, you can modify, maybe cut the ride short that day, try again the next day. Or maybe, there's this thing where people say never quit at night. If you feel bad, sleep on it. Make the decision the next day.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And then in the end, this really should be fun. You should be having a good time. So if you really aren't, then something needs to change about it. And I think that's a positive too. I used to be so kind of stubborn about some of these bike trips. I'd say, oh, I'm riding up, and these weren't even races. I just rode around, toured for the world for 7 years before I raced. And I'd say, I'm riding north up the west coast of the US, and then realize that the prevailing winds are coming from the north. A hard lesson to learn is that people don't ride north for a reason, because it's like a constant headwind. Oh, and so then, I did this so stubborn for probably a couple of weeks where I was like, I'm doing it. I'm just doing it. And then I realized I am not having fun. This is not This is miserable. Then I realized nobody else cares if I do this. I'm putting this on myself. So modify the trip, change it.
Sure.
Maybe take a train, start somewhere else, do something else, make it fun again. Because life's too short to be battling when you don't have to.
Right.
There are enough hard things that you do have to do. So I think the same goes with something like RAGBRAI, where, those are really big days, but if it's not going well, give yourself some grace, take a break, or, change something. That was another advice a friend gave, was when you don't feel good, change something about the situation. Have a snack, put on a different layer, listen to some music, just do something different where you feel like you're in control.
That is amazing. That's great advice. Just to do something different. Try
do something different.
Yeah. Love it. Love it.
Call somebody.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So I think there are a lot of ways you could approach this, but in the end, all these things, I think, it's just biking. In the end, it should be fun, and it's going to be more important to you than anybody else. So make it the best experience you can have.
Yeah. And that is a great segue to my second to last question. What do you think your biggest why is? Because you do epic, like Tour Divide, Race Across America. You are not doing just funsy one day. Let me see if I can do it.
I think like the primary thing for me is I really love this.
Mm-hmm.
I love being outside. I love moving. I love being on the bike. It's just the more I do it, the more I like it. And then the second thing is, for this around the world record, it's really about showing that women can do these things, and I think we've grown a lot in kind of what we think women are capable of and how we are as athletes, how we're perceived. But I think we still have a long way to go, and I think I'm not the only woman that could do this, but I'm putting together a chance to do it, and I better take it, because I think it changes perception. You do something that seems impossible, and I'm not saying that we are equal physically.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely am not. I'm average size. I have bad asthma. I have a lot of shortcomings, but I think despite that, you got to give it a shot. And if I can make this happen, I think it will do something. I think it gives people something to believe in when things are hard. And things are hard and sad right now.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of kind of ugly things to look at in the world. And I think we still need the positive things, something to believe in.
Well said. And, I didn't even bring it up at the very beginning when we started talking, but you grew up in Anchorage, Alaska, right?
I did. Yep.
And did you bike around a lot?
No.
When you were younger? Because isn't there like just 4 highways or something? It's like
Totally. One year I did a project like later in life where I rode all the major roads. Wow. And they're really interesting. They're really pretty, but the state is just it's just not developed.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up, I think I learned how to ride a bike as a kid. But then, I got my first bike when I was 10. And then somebody stole it, a couple of weeks later. And I was so bummed. And I was just like, forget it. I don't need a bike. And then I just rollerblade everywhere.
Oh, my gosh. Well, and I don't know enough about Alaska, but the thought of bears does creep into my brain when I'm thinking about.
Totally.
Because there was some adventure that you finished by biking back when you lived in Alaska still. I can't recall what event it was, but I was like, I hope she looks around for bears.
Oh, there are bears everywhere. But the thing that's good about most of Alaska is its tree line is very low. So you don't have a lot of dense woods. So unless you're in Southeast Alaska, you can see the bears from like miles away.
Oh, okay.
Unless you're in like a really dense forest, you've got good visibility. It's more kind of the area, Southeast, kind of Juneau, Ketchikan, that you're kind of in thicker bear country, but most of those are black bears.
So they're afraid.
So less dangerous.
Okay.
But the grizzly, but also, something I think about is it's amazing that I even get to see these animals.
Right. Yeah.
That they're still around and they're still wild.
Right.
But yeah, I think you just have to be cautious.
Well, I highly doubt most people listening to this podcast are going to be biking in Alaska. But if they do go, at least they should know that it's doable.
It's totally doable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how can people follow you in your daily stuff, but also for this specific trip?
Yeah, so I'll have a tracking page up. It's a follow my challenge page. And then I'll do all my updates on Instagram, which is just my name. I've got a website, laelwilcox.net. And then we'll have the podcast up every day, which is called Lael Rides Around the World.
Awesome. Love it. Thank you so much, Lael, for taking time to talk to me and kind of let RAGBRAI Nation know a little bit more about you.
Oh yeah, thanks for this conversation, and I really hope that maybe next year I can ride RAGBRAI with my wife Rue. Love for us both to be
Oh
out
my
there.
God, that would be a treat for all of us.
Us too.
And I think the only thing I want to add to it is if you guys don't have a quad lock on your bike, at least go to the website and look it up. It's called quadlockcase.net because I had a quad lock before I knew you had one, Lael. So you weren't my influencer, but
Well, I'll tell you, they're incredible. I've been using quad lock, I think, for at least 5 years on every bike, mountain bike, every trip, and I've never had my phone fall off. And, I'm constantly riding with people who are holding their phone out, trying to do navigation with it in their hand. That's super dangerous.
yes.
So it's really, really cool to have it mounted to the bars and make cases for all different phones. It's really simple. And it's definitely improved my life.
Yeah. And Quadlock, when we were talking with them before getting this podcast scheduled, they claim that you probably are the roughest on the quad lock than any other athlete. So that is a high five to you, Lael.
I'm not the roughest. I'm just out there the most.
Okay, well, you'll have to ask them about that. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And you don't even need luck, but best of influential power to you for your adventure coming up.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Well, listeners, that is it for today. We want to thank you for tuning in to listen to the Just Go Bike podcast. If you would like to contact Murph and AP with a comment about the podcast, or maybe even you have a topic in mind, you can reach us at justgobikepodcast@gmail.com. Please follow us on Instagram and Facebook and watch our intros on YouTube. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast, especially if you're a fan. That is going to do it for this week. Until next time,
Just go bike.
theme song by Ryan Steer, logo by Suzanne Milosevic, produced by Kathy Murphy, social media by Andrea Parrott, intro by Pumpkin. Until next time, just go bike.